Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami. So we'll resume our discussion from Canto 1, Chapter 7, verse 47. Marodidasya janani Gautami pati devata yathamrita vatsatha rodimyashrumukhi muhu. My Lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I am aggrieved for the death of my sons. She need not cry constantly like me. So these are the set of verses that we are discussing, which is bringing forth the reasons that Draupadi is giving to Arjun and to some extent Bhima to not kill Ashwathama. So she has given a few reasons in the past couple of verses. So here she's talking about empathy. She's putting her own situation as the reality. So the reality is that she's crying for her sons, and one way to look at it is one route that she could have gone was that the punishment should fit the crime, something akin to an eye to an eye, which is what the Arthashastra is based on. But Draupadi is operating from the higher principles of Dharma Shastra, which talk about compassion and forgiveness. So if you note the use of the words that Draupadi does when talking about the mother of Ashwathama. So she calls Kripi as Janani, mother, Gautami, descendant of Gautam, Pati Devata. Pati Devata is one who considers her husband as God or a chaste wife. So she's glorifying Kripi as a mother, Janani, as a daughter, Gautami, and as a wife, Pati Devata. So the point she's making is that in all respects, Kripi is worthy of veneration. As a mother, as a Janani, the only reason that she continued to live, and this was what she spoke in the last verse, is because of her position as a mother. Because Dronacharya continued to live in Ashwathama. And because of her position of a mother, she did not commit sati. She did not ascend the funeral pyre. As the descendant of Gautam Rishi, she's a Brahmani, great Brahman, belonging to a highly venerated lineage. And then look at her husband, Dronacharya, one who is none other than the guru of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So she's telling Arjun, don't make such a venerable, glorious woman cry. She says, Ma Rodit. That even under ordinary circumstances, but these are extraordinary circumstances, do not make her cry. And then she paints a picture that what would be the plight of Kripi if Ashwathama was killed. So she tells Arjun that you don't have to imagine that plight. You can see that right in front of you. So she says, Yata aham, that look at me. Aham is me, myself. Look at me. Yata aham mritavatsa. That my children are dead. And what is my situation? Artha, distressed, rodimi, crying. Muhu Ashrumukhi. That constantly, so Muhu is constant and Ashrumukhi is tears are constantly flowing in my eyes. So this is what will happen to Kripi. That lady who was glorious as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, this will happen to her. That she will be distressed, she will be constantly crying, with tears constantly flowing from her eyes. For a mother, there is no greater grief than witnessing the death of her own child. And Draupadi is suffering from it herself. And being a compassionate and noble lady, she does not want to wish that on anyone, least of all someone who has that stature and relationship as Kripi has. So Prabhupada in the purport says, sympathetic, good lady as she was, Srimati Draupadi did not want to put the wife of Dronacharya in the same position of childlessness, both from the points of motherly feelings and from the respectable position held by the wife of Dronacharya. So this is the fifth of the 6 reasons that Draupadi gives to Arjun not to kill Ashwathama, and it is based on kindness and humanity. That where is your kindness if you are just trying to extract revenge, an eye for an eye? Where is your humanity if you have no concern for the plight of a helpless woman? And in doing so, Draupadi is casting the seeds of doubt. So she is creating divisiveness, bhed, in the mind of Arjun. Okay, next verse. Any questions on this? One 748. Yahi kopitam brahmakulam rajaner ajitat mahabhi tatkulam pradhatyashu shanu bandham sucharpitam. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense control, offends the Brahman order and enrages them, then the fire of that rage burns up the whole body of the royal family and brings grief upon them all. So Draupadi had been up till now talking about the adverse effects of killing Ashwathama from the perspective of either Kripi or Ashwathama or Arjun. Now she is warning him of much more severe and far-reaching consequence. So she says that Rajanya Ajita Atmabhi. So Rajanya means the ruling class. Ajita means unconquerable. So if the ruling class, they consider themselves supreme, and Atmabhi means themselves. So they consider themselves supreme and they offend the Brahmins, what will happen? She says that Yaha Kopitam Brahmakulam. So they will, by their offenses, Kopitam means generate anger. They will generate anger in the Brahmanas. And what will be the consequence of that? Ashu Pradaditi. That the offending Kshatriyas will be immediately burnt. And the other family members, Sa Anubandham, they will be put into grief. Sucha Arpitam. So she's doing something very similar to what Arjun did at the end of the first chapter, where he talks about how the battle of Mahabharata, the elders will die because of elders, and he talks about the subsequent actions. So the women will become polluted. Prem Kishore Prabhu, you want to put yourself on mute? Thank you. So because of that, so he talks about that scenario of how this single action, localized action, may put the whole society into danger. And Draupadi is not making it up. This has happened in the past. So can anyone think of a historical instance when something very similar actually happened?
When Jamadagni was killed, Parshuram became angry.
Right. Right. So when Jamadagni was killed, then the same thing, Parshuram actually said something very similar, that the Kshatriyas, they are mad with power. And when the Brahmana class gets angry, then the Brahma Tejas is far, far more potent than the valor or the chivalry of the Kshatriyas. So Draupadi is making this point that the wrath of the Brahmanas, when you kill, so the killing of Dronacharya and Kripacharya was different because it was conducted in the battlefield when they were both engaged as warriors. But this is different. This is that Ashwathama is captive. He is without weapons, and if you kill him, then the Brahmanas will get upset, and because of that, they will put the Kshatriyas into continuous distress, and the downfall of the ruling class will be imminent. So this is the sixth reason, which actually translates to Draupadi appealing to the greatness of Arjun, that a small person will only think of immediate things, that I have been offended, so I need that offense to be redressed. But a great person will think in terms of posterity. And so she's appealing to his greatness, that don't just think about yourself and your sons. Think about the Kshatriyas at large, and not just the Kshatriyas, but humanity at large and for posterity. So this is the sixth reason that Draupadi gives for not killing Ashwathama. So just because we split it over different classes, I'm going to summarize the 6 reasons that Draupadi has given, and these are from verses 43 to 48. So in verse 43, she said, don't kill him because he is a Brahman and a Guru. And that reason basically comes from piety. Then in verse 44, she spoke about the fact that Arjun became a warrior by the mercy of the father of Ashwathama. So it talks about reason and justice. That if you look at justice from a larger perspective, then the debt of a father goes to the son. So if Arjun is indebted to the father, he's also indebted to the son. So it is only justified that he acknowledges that debt. The third reason is that Ashwathama is the only representative of Dronacharya. And that goes towards empathy and equality. That the dynasty of the Kurus was close to the point of extinction itself. So look at it as such a flourishing dynasty with hundreds of children, and each children having hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but lots of children. And then in a matter of 18 days, everybody is wiped out. The only one person that is remaining is still not born. And they were facing this very real prospect of the Kuru Vansh becoming extinct. So it says that only one who experiences the pain can empathize with the pain of others. So she's calling upon the empathy that feel her pain also. That if we kill Ashwatthama, for sure that dynasty will get destroyed then and there only. So this is verse 45. In verse 46, she talks about mercy. That it does not, that one who knows the rules of dharma. So we had discussed how Atharva Shastra talks about legality and dharma talks about forgiveness. So she says one who knows the rule of dharma knows that forgiveness is always glorious. The fifth reason is in verse 47, which is kindness and humanity. Be kind to the mother of Ashwatthama. Do not make her cry. And the sixth reason, which is in verse 48, which is this particular verse, which is pointing to the greatness that be magnanimous. Do not act in a way that simply satisfies your immediate concern, but look at the concern of the larger humanity and the future generations. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, Prajit, the first reason that you mentioned, because in number 43, because he's a Brahmana and spiritual master. So, like, I'm just trying to understand. You said that comes from piety. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what is that exactly?
So piety is a synonym for mode of goodness, which is a synonym of following the rules of the scriptures, which says that a Brahman and a Guru should never be harmed, even if they are following activities that are reprehensible. So that's the point that Esha Brahmano Nitram Guru, the point that Draupadi makes, that you've been saying is a Brahma Bandhu, but nevertheless, he is a Brahman and therefore our Guru, and therefore he should not be harmed.
So basically, it takes piety to recognize a Brahmana and to recognize a superior, or
So it takes piety to surrender to the scriptures. So that's what mode of goodness is. That you surrender to the instructions in the scriptures, even if they seem to work against your intrinsic just 1 minute. So that's what piety is, that follow the scriptures. And the scripture says don't kill a Brahman.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Any other question, comments? Okay, so we'll do the next verse, 1749. So Draupadi has now stopped speaking. Now Sutta speaks. Sutta vacha dharmyam nyayam sakarunam nirvyalikam samam mahat raja dharm sutta rajanyaha pratyananda dvachodvijaha. Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, King Yudhishthir fully supported the statements of the queen, which were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. So now Sutta Goswami says, so he addresses the assembled sages as Dvija. So Dvija literally means twice born, and it in this particular case is referring to the Brahmanas. So generally the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas are considered to be Dvijas because there is one seminal birth and then there is the birth at the time of initiation from the spiritual master. But in this context, the understanding the context is speaking to the sages. So when he says Dvija, he actually means Brahmanas. And Sutta does that to develop in them a sense of empathy to the points that Draupadi is making about the greatness of Brahmans and the need to protect and respect them. So if you notice, the main undercurrent in Draupadi's reasons is that he's a Brahman. He belongs to a Brahman family. Brahmanas should always be respected. And Sutta is basically saying, oh, Brahmanas, right after that. To say you are also Brahmans. So you can understand the points that Draupadi is making. Sutta calls Maharaj Yudhishthir as Dharma Sutta. So Dharma Sutta is son of Dharma. So he's drawing their attention of the Dvijas, of the sages, to the fact that the very personification of Dharma, Yudhishthir, he is agreeing with the points that Draupadi is making. So Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. He's a great authority on, one of the greatest authorities on Dharma. Yudhishthir is an expansion of him. So he's saying that Maharaj Yudhishthir agreed with the points made by Draupadi. So which means that Draupadi was not speaking out of womanly emotions or mental speculation, but she was speaking completely based on scriptures. And Yudhishthira was famous for his understanding of the finer principles of religion and morality and justice. And there are at least two places in Mahabharata where he demonstrated that. So does anybody remember those two places?
Demonstrates what, Prabhuji?
Where Yudhishthira demonstrates his understanding of these finer principles of dharma, how to resolve the conflicting principles, morality, justice.
Prabhu, one is that Yaksha Prashna, that
yes. So one is the Yaksh Vartalap that happens, and yes.
Second one is I mean, we can say three. So second one is in the gambling match. And the third one I can say is when Bhima is poisoned in the early time by Duryodhana. That time everybody wants to take a revenge on Duryodhana, but Yudhishthira Maharaj says that we should wait. We should not immediately. We are not equipped right now.
Yes, that is there. And so those are all valid points. The second major is the conversation between Yudhishthir and Nahusha. When Nahusha was in the form of a python and he captured him. Ravi Prabhu, can you mute your computer, please? So the second point is that conversation where Nahusha he asked Yudhishthira many questions on the finer details of dharma, and same thing at stake at that time was Bhima's life, but Yudhishthira was able to answer. And yes, as Gaurasundar Prabhu is indicating, that there are many other places where, especially Draupadi, she challenges Yudhishthira at many times. After the gambling match, there's a famous conversation between Draupadi and Yudhishthira. where Draupadi starts off very, very angry with Yudhishthir, and understandably so, because he had just gambled it away. But Yudhishthir answers every point that she makes on the platform of dharma. So Sutta is pointing out to the validation by this great personality. So if you think back to the verse 42, where Srila Prabhupada had said that, or he had commented on Sutta's use of describing Draupadi as Vam Swabhav, as mild and gentle by nature, to describe her as a sentimental and one who lacks discrimination. Then in the very next verse, Prabhupada concedes that even though she may be sentimental, and this I'm quoting from the purport, he says that these are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. So now he begins to see that even though she's sentimental, but she is glorious because she is a pure devotee of the Lord. In the next verse, 44, Srila Prabhupada says, that was the opinion of the good lady, Draupadi. So now he's basically endorsing directly. It's like when Krishna says that, Masucha, that listen to me, or this is my opinion. And it is used to indicate an authoritative statement, and Prabhupada is endorsing the statements made by Draupadi. So it's not to say that Prabhupada is changing his impression about Draupadi, but he's walking along with us in our understanding of the nature of Draupadi. So she was always, of course, she was always completely speaking on the platform of dharma. And just like Arjun is initially criticized as being overly compassionate and bewildered, to the point that when Prabhupada starts glorifying him as a pure devotee and a surrendered soul, so we see that same progression in Draupadi. The only difference being that Arjun's progression was as a result of the instructions from Krishna, and Draupadi's progression or apparent progression is based on our deeper understanding of what she means. So Sutta Goswami glorifies the statements made by Draupadi in 6 ways in this verse, and depending on the way you read the verse, it could be understood that these 6 glorifications is Sutta Goswami repeating Yudhishthir's glorification, because it comes right next to Yudhishthir. So either what Sutta Goswami says is that when Yudhishthir fully agreed to Draupadi for the following reasons, it means that Yudhishthir gave these following reasons. Or it could mean that Sutta Goswami is saying that Yudhishthir agreed for the following reasons, which means Sutta Goswami gives the following reasons. In either cases, it's the same, because both of them are great personalities. So the 6 reasons are, the first is Nyayam, justice; Sakarunam, full of mercy; Nirvailikam, without duplicity in dharma; Samam, equity; and Mahat, glorious. So we will later on see how each of these 6 reasons, these 6 glorification, applies to the 6 reasons given by Draupadi, which basically applies to the 6 reasons given by Krishna, or which negates the 6 reasons given by Krishna to kill Ashwatthama. So in this exchange, Arjun does not speak. So when Krishna spoke, then Arjun was silent and listening to him. After that, when Draupadi spoke, then Arjun was again silent and he was listening to him. So very much like a judge, he's listening to the pros and cons. And as an intelligent person, he will weigh the pros and cons and make the best possible decision that is available to him. So at this point, I wanted to discuss this table and so Prem Kishore Prabhu had sent it out, and I know that Achyuta had uploaded it in the Google Docs. So for those of you who have it, you can refer to it. I'm going to see if I can share this for those who don't have it.
I'll also upload it. You want me to upload it here in the chat also, Prabhuji?
In the where? In the
Chat, screen, whatever you.
Okay, let me try this and see if it works.
Yep, we can see that.
Okay, very good. So, so the first reason that was given by Krishna not to kill or to kill Ashwathama is Krishna says he's a Brahma Bandhu. So he's a relative of a Brahman, not a Brahman. So don't give him the same consideration that you would give a Brahman, and he's a Kula Pamashna. And not only is a Brahma Bandhu, but he's a disgrace to his family. So any privileges that his family would be accorded, he does not deserve that. Draupadi, so she refused that by saying that he may be a Brahma Bandhu, but nevertheless he is still a Brahman and our Guru. Esha Brahmano Nitra. So we discussed that this was out of piety that he is saying, and Sutta Goswami glorifies it, or Yudhishthir. I've written Sutta, but we can take it either way. He glorifies it as dharmaya, as in accordance with the principle of religion, that one who is related to a Brahman should be considered to be a Brahman and a Guru. And Prabhupada in the purport comments on this, that one should not tolerate the humiliation of a member of a great family. The second reason that Krishna gives to have him killed is that he is a sinner and an aggressor, and Bharatu Vipriyam, that he has displeased his master. The reason that Draupadi gives is a little orthogonal, but she says that he's the son, that this is the son of your Guru, by whose mercy he became a warrior. So the point that is made over here is that mercy trumps everything. So it is difficult to negate the points that Krishna has made. That yes, he's a sinner. Yes, he's an aggressor. And yes, he displeased his master. But that does not mean that he is not worthy of your mercy. And Sutta Goswami glorifies this as nyayam, or justice. The point being made that, and this is explained by Prabhupada, that that if ingratitude were shown to such a benevolent family, it would not at all be justified from a moral standpoint. So this is the whole notion of the debt being acknowledged, not just to the person, but to the family. And the acknowledgement of the debt is that you overlook the faults of their family members. The third point Krishna makes is that Nagashaha Suptan Balakan Avadit, that he killed faultless boys while they were sleeping. And the reason given by Draupadi to negate it is that Ma Rodid Asya Janani. So kindness and humanity. So again, the point she made is yes, he did kill faultless boys. He did kill the children of mother, but that does not mean that you also kill children of mother. So the glorification by Sutta Goswami is nirvelikam, which is without duplicity in dharma. So dharma again is keeping the higher principles in in mind. And the higher principle over here is not to seek revenge, but to show consideration and kindness to the other person. So Prabhupada makes the point in the purport that Draupadi was herself a mother, and therefore her calculation of the depth of Kripa's grief was quite to the point. So if somebody could mute their microphone.
Yeah, I'll mute everyone, Prabhu, 1 second.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So the fourth point that Krishna made to convince Arjun was a dharmavit that does not know the principles of religion, and pratishrutam cha bhavata panchalaya. That he said, Arjun, you had made that promise to Draupadi to return with the head of Ashwathama. And Draupadi, she uses the same point, that dharmagya mahabhaga, that one who actually knows the principle of dharma will not act in one. The glorification is sakaruna, which is reciprocate mercy with mercy. So the mercy that Arjun had received was from Dronacharya and Kripi, and the mercy that he's expected to reciprocate is by forgiving Ashwathama. The Prabhupada writes that Arjun and his family were indebted to the family of Dronacharya because of Arjun's learning the military science from him. The fifth point is Atmabandhuha, that he's the killer of your relatives. And Draupadi says that yes, he's the killer of your relatives, but if you kill him, then you will be the killer of his relatives, because there would be no reason for Kripi to live. So the point she's making is that of samam, or equity, that treat your enemies as you expect them to treat you. And Prabhupada in the purport writes that the wife of Dronacharya must be treated with compassion, and she should not be put into grief because of her son's death. The sixth point is tadvada tasya hishriya, that he should be killed for his own well-being. The point Krishna makes is that because he has committed sinful activities, if he is not punished, he will suffer from the consequence of those activities. And Draupadi makes the point is that even if you're looking at the well-being from the perspective of well-being, then operate on the principle that the well-being of many is more important than the well-being of one person. So if you kill Ashwathama, the wrath of the Brahmanas will descend, the Kshatriya dynasty will be destroyed, and many will be put into turmoil. And the glorification is mahat or glorious, which is putting the welfare of the larger humanity ahead of the need for revenge. And Prabhupada mentions that, and it was glorious because she wanted to show proper respect to a great family, and in this case, the great family is that of Arjun, Ashwathama, and the greater families of the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. So, so this table actually, Bhurijan Prabhu, he talks about it in unveiling the Lord's lotus feet. So he talks about correlating the 6 reasons. So what I've done is I've put them in a tabular form. He writes it more in a verbose form, and then Prabhupada explains it in the purport. So if you look at the purport of this particular verse, which is 49, then you will see Prabhupada making all these points in the purport. So I've taken them verbatim from the purport and put them over here. So at least to me, it was easier for me to read it in this way: reason of Krishna, reason of Draupadi, glorification by Sutta Goswami, and then the corresponding explanation by Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Any questions, comments?
I was just going to say, Prabhu, this table is very, very helpful. Thank you for putting it together. Um, and Prabhuji, so like one question, so like if for example, if Arjuna had killed him, killed Ashwatthama, would that have been outside of the moral or outside of dharmic principles?
It would have been, because so we obviously don't have that access to the intricacies of dharma, but the very fact that Yudhishthir is supporting it, and the very fact that we will see in the next verse that Krishna himself will be supporting it, which means that it is in accordance, what he has done is in accordance with the dharmic principle, and anything else would have been adharmic. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Let's say that Arjun had killed Ashwatthama when. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu. I heard you till you said that let's. You broke up. If you can repeat the question, Prabhu.
Let's say that Arjun had killed Ashwatthama on the request of Krishna, because Krishna said it to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that Krishna was testing him, but let's say that Arjuna would have killed him. And do you think this would be adharmic? Because in the battle of Kurukshetra, when he said to kill him, he killed him.
It's a good point, Prabhu. Very similar to the point that Achyuta made, that given the circumstances in which Arjun was, if he was not able to distinguish between the words of the spiritual master and the desires of the spiritual master, then it basically would have meant that he's not a disciple who has advanced to that level that Krishna was expecting him to be. So it would have been adharmic in two ways. One is that he failed Krishna's test, and the second is that he would have done something that Krishna himself did not wanted to do, or wanted him to do rather.
Yeah, it's insignificant, because even you Yudhishthir, when he said, told Yudhishthir to lie, and that this is the other way around. Yudhishthir was in state to lie.
Sarang Prabhu, where are you? Are you traveling, or?
Not hear me?
Your voice has been breaking up. Earlier on, I could hear and see you clearly, but I think since the last discussion, I can barely comprehend what you're speaking, because there are or I don't know if it's just me or the others also, but you're breaking up a lot.
Yeah, if you can speak to your mic, Prabhuji, Mr. Sarang Prabhu. What I was saying is when Krishna requested Yudhishthir to lie, this is another situation as well. And in this particular case, Yudhishthir was hesitant, and it was not right.
That is true. And Prabhupada does make a point that in one of the purports, I forget which verse, but in these set of verses only, Prabhupada makes the point in the purport that Krishna puts his devotees to tests, and his devotees always pass. So he never puts them into a situation where he does not know that they will pass with flying colors. So that is Krishna's way of glorifying his devotees. So in a way, it's not a test in a real way, because Krishna being Krishna knows, but still it's a test because it makes the disciple look at the pros and cons, evaluate it, and then come to a decision. And the point is that it is really for our benefit. that when we are in a scenario where things are not linear, then these kinds of situations help us. That do we go with the externals? Do we go understand more the mood? And and in a way, we do that not only in our spiritual life, we do in our material life also, right? Especially when dealing with close family members, we always try to look beyond the externals. That somebody might be saying that no, I don't, like I remember last year was my mother's 90th birthday, and then she called me and she said that, can you come over? And I said, it's going to be difficult. And then she said, okay, you don't have to come over. And then after that, every time she would call me, she says that, don't come over for my birthday. And and externally she was saying that, but of course I could understand that really what she wanted me was to somehow or else come over for a birthday. So we have that kind of experience where we look beyond the externals to understand more the mood. I'm sure you have a lot of experience of that with Lalita. Arjun also basically is displaying the same mood or Krishna is evoking the same mood from Arjun of understanding the deeper nature of the relationship.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you very much, Prabhu. The table is really, good that it distills out the essence of so many verses of the chapter. But although more study is required for us to understand, but still I have a question. On one of the reason is sakarunam, like reciprocating mercy with mercy. But the very definition of mercy itself is causeless, like without any reason. If somebody does, that is mercy. But because I received mercy, so I am showing mercy. So is it really mercy?
It's still mercy. I think when you talk about causeless mercy, that's the highest form of mercy, where even if the person is trying to harm you, you're still merciful to the person. Causeless mercy is generally used in the context of Krishna, and more specifically in the context of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we are envious to him, we want to take his position, but he's still merciful. So there's no cause for him to be mercy on us, but he's merciful. And yes, in his perfection, that's what we are aspiring for, even in ourselves. But at this stage, the mercy, at least the point that Draupadi is trying to make, is that at the minimum, when you receive mercy, it behooves you to reciprocate with mercy. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Gaur Sundar Das here. There is a question, Prabhu. I don't know if this is a question or more of a comment and maybe a shadow question. So I was trying to see in comparison of this situation to the situation in Ramayana, where Ravana is also a Brahma Bandhu. He's Brahmana, but because of his fallen nature, he's a Brahma Bandhu, similar to Ashwathama. And at the end of the battle, Rama kills Ravana, and then Ram performs all the final rites, the Antyeshti karma for Ravana in terms of his Brahminical nature. So at that time, Mandodari comes, Ravana's wife, and she cries a lot. And there is a whole big conversation that happens between Rama and Mandodari regarding the intricacies of Dharma. So that is one situation, Prabhu. And the other situation is, I was thinking, after the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna goes and meets Gandhari, and there is a long conversation about the intricacies of dharma. And finally, she curses Krishna, saying that you are the main reason why my sons are killed. So the intricacies of dharma are very difficult to understand, especially with these two other situations. And in this situation, Draupadi somehow creates a different outcome when compared to the other two situations where they are killed, the aggressors, the so-called aggressors, not so-called, the real aggressors. Ravana being kidnapping the wife of Lord Ramchandra, and Duryodhana being obviously miscreant and mischievous. So my thing, my thought is like how, if you compare these three situations, it's very close. The situation is very close, very comparable to each other. But only in this outcome where Draupadi is giving a very merciful or very kind behavior towards the aggressor, whereas in the other two they are not given. So if you want to just comment, Prabhu, I don't know if this is a question, I don't know how to frame it, but I'm trying to compare these other two situations where it is similar, but the outcome is the killing of the aggressor, even if there is suffering from the other party. The killing is already done. Whereas in this case, it is more kind and merciful and let go. And especially Ashwatthama, this is his second chance. So the first chance, he commits an aggressive act and it is forgiven. And this is the second act where is again forgiven. It is very interesting to know how these dharma intricacies work, the subtle nature of dharma.
Yes, Prabhu, I agree with you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we'll do 1750. So has the share screen changed? Can you see the verse?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you. Nakula Sadevascha Yuddhano Dhananjaya Bhagavan Devaki Putra Ye Chanyaya Sachayoshitaha. Nakul and Sahadev, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjun, the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies and others all unanimously agreed with the king. So in the previous verse, we see that in addition to Draupadi, we see that Maharaj Yudhishthir had expressed his agreement, and Maharaj Yudhishthir is called out separately because of the reasons we discussed. That he is the very personification of dharma. So here we see that this consensus is spreading to other great personalities. So Krishna. So Krishna is addressed as Bhagavan Devaki Putra, and in verse 39, Krishna had said Tadasau Vidatam, that kill him immediately, as an explicit instruction to Arjun for Ashwatthama. But after hearing all the counterpoints put by Draupadi, he agrees now. He's agreeing with Draupadi that Ashwatthama should not be killed. Arjun himself is agreeing with Draupadi that he should be forgiven. Then Nakul and Sahadev. So Nakul was particularly famous for his wisdom. He was very intelligent, and he was also famous for his good looks. And Sahadev was very famous for his tolerance. And Sahadev was also learned in astronomy and swordsmanship. He had learned it from Dronacharya. So they also agree with the points that Draupadi have made. Then Satyaki. So here Satyaki is called Yudhana, and Yudhana is again the name that Duryodhana also uses in Bhagavad Gita to refer to Satyaki as one of the Maharathis. He also agrees. Anyacha. So Anyacha means everybody else. Yoshita. And Sutta Goswami gives a separate call out to the women because Draupadi's sons have been killed. So only a mother can understand the grief of another mother. Even the husband cannot understand that grief. So he's saying even the other mothers are agreeing. So even the Prabhupada says unanimously, but there is still one exception, and that is Bhima. So Bhima will speak in the next verse. Any questions about this one? Tatrahmarshita bhimastasya shreyan vada smritaha na bharturna tamanascharta yoan suptan shishun vrata. Bhim, however, angrily disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit who had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his or his master's interest. So the verse starts with Tatra. So Tatra is basically an indicator of what happens next. So Arjun had entered the camp, leading Ashwatthama like an animal, bound like a rope. Draupadi had then spoken the verses asking forgiveness for Ashwatthama. Convinced by her logic, everybody agrees. Yudhishthir, Krishna, Nakul, Sahadev, Anyacha, others, Yoshita, the women. And then thereupon, what happens next is the reaction we see from Bhima. So Bhima is a mighty warrior, and he would not have complained if Ashwatthama had fought and killed the Upapandavas on the battlefield. He himself had killed so many people. In fact, in the Mahabharata, it is said that more than Arjun, Bhima was responsible for the victory of the Pandavas. He, just in terms of the numbers, he killed more of the Kauravas than any of the other soldiers, including Arjun. And Bhima was so ferocious that when he would shout, even the soldiers on his own end would faint. What to speak of the soldiers on the other end? So he is chivalrous that way, and a fight is a fight. And the only thing with Bhim is that he has always fought for a purpose. So he has fought to protect. And we see that pastime with Hidamba. When Hidamba was trying to attack his family, he fought and killed him to protect his family. Then he has fought to right a wrong. And we see that with Kichak. When Kichak was trying to molest Draupadi, then Bhima had a hand-to-hand combat with him and killed him. Or he fought to uphold the principles of dharma, which was essentially the battle of Mahabharata. But in this verse, what he's saying, he's particularly angry. He's Amarshita. He's very, very angry because he says Vratha, that these are pointless killings. Because neither Ashwathama nor Duryodhan received any tangible benefits. He said there's no Shreyan. So there was no protection. So they were not threatening anybody. These Upapandavas he killed. So there was no protection. They had not done no wrong. They had fought according to the Kshatriya rules, code of conduct. So there was no correcting or wrong, and they were sleeping. So the principles of dharma were violated. So that is what Bhim is most angry about. That there's no redeeming factor that I can see. One might say that Duryodhan ordered Ashwathama to kill, but he says that even as Bharatu, even his master was displeased about the fact that he killed the Upapandavas. So his recommendation is that Vadaha, that kill Ashwathama right away. Okay. Next verse. Questions, comments?
Ruchi, I was just wondering, like, how is this, is this how do we see this, this pastime as in current context, in the sense that we see so many people who are like, from Brahmin family and, like so-called Brahmin family or whatever, and then, or can we use this in terms of judging, when a judge passes the judgment on criminals, like can they use this pastime in certain cases, or is it not relevant anymore?
Definitely is relevant. That's why it's put over there. That it gives us so many instructions. As we have been discussing, we've been bringing them forth. It brings us instructions, gives us instructions in terms of the nature of a guru-disciple relationship, how a guru tries to glorify the disciple, how the disciple tries to understand the mood of a guru. It brings forth the importance of mercy, compassion, forgiveness. So it's and that's the reason why it's been placed strategically over here, because, so to speak, it is at the juncture where the Bhagavatam is going to be launched. So these are the qualities that we should aspire to imbibe in us in order to become a proper recipient of the message that will be flowing soon. Now, I think the point that you made is that Brahman, that point maybe is not relevant, because maybe it is relevant in the context of devotees. If we swap the term Brahman with devotees, then yes, because Kalau Shudra Sambhavate, that everybody in this age of Kali is a Shudra, so we don't really have any Brahmanical families. But yes, we are often advised and recommended that when dealing with devotees, forgiveness and forbearance and tolerance, all that should be exercised to the maximum extent.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
And just a comment, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. The reason that you gave is these are the qualities we need to imbibe for the studying of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because earlier I was thinking, because there are so many Lord's pastimes which are more fascinating, why in the beginning Ashwadhama punishing, I couldn't see the reason why this is so important. But thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, and that's why we're spending some time on it. And the second reason, of course, many things are achieved through the same activity. The second reason is that this pastime leads into the pastime of the appearance of Parikshit Maharaj, which is a question that was asked by the sages. Like, can you tell us more about Parikshit Maharaj? So this is also setting the stage for that. Okay, 1752. Nishamya Bhima Gaditam Draupadayascha Chaturbhuja Alokya Vadanam Sakhyo Idam Mahasan. Chaturbhuj, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, after hearing the words of Bhim, Draupadi and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjun, and he began to speak as if smiling. So why is Krishna called Chaturbhuj over here? Because he was standing there in his Manushya Roop. He was standing there in the two-armed form. And Prabhupada explains in the purport, Lord Krishna had two arms. And why he is designated as four-armed is explained by Sridhar Swami. Both Bhim and Draupadi held opposite views about killing Ashwathama. Bhim wanted him to be immediately killed, whereas Draupadi wanted to save him. We can imagine Bhim ready to kill while Draupadi is obstructing him. And in order to prevent both of them, the Lord discovered another two arms. So Sridhar Swami explains that he's called Chaturbhuj because he actually manifested two more arms. Two arms to hold back Draupadi and two arms to hold back Bhima, because they had opposing views. Jiva Goswami in Krama Sandarbha, he says that the Lord assumed four arms to keep the two parties apart. Or both parties have been instructed by me. He showed his powers in order that they follow his orders. So Jiva Goswami, he restates the point made by Sridhar Swami, and then he adds another point that he's making this point that Chaturbhuj refers to the divinity of Krishna. So even though he appeared in a human-like form, he is still God. And Prabhupada endorses this point also in his purport. He says that originally Krishna displays two arms, but as Narayan feature he exhibits four. And skipping a little bit, he goes down and says, therefore, if Sri Krishna is called Chaturbhuj, there is no contradiction. If need be, he can display hundreds of arms as he exhibited in his Vishwaroop shown to Arjun. Therefore, one who can display hundreds and thousand arms can be manifest four arms whenever needed. So the point Jiva Goswami and Srila Prabhupada is making, that Krishna is called Chaturbhuj to indicate that he is God, which implies that his orders should be followed. And this is relevant in terms of what Krishna will speak in the next verse. And on a more humorous note, some acharyas say that the use of the word Chaturbhuj is to refer to Krishna's ambiguous position. So Krishna said, kill Ashwathama immediately. On one hand, he says, Krishna, kill Ashwathama immediately. On the second hand, he agreed with Draupadi. Do not kill Ashwathama. On the third hand, he asked Arjun to kill Ashwathama without being the cause of his death. This will happen in the subsequent verse. And on the fourth hand, he indicates that Arjun should kill him and not kill him. So Krishna is, and of course Krishna is deliberately doing that. He's deliberately giving ambiguous instructions. So some acharyas say that he seems to have given four different instructions, and the word Chaturbhuj is there to signify that. So in addition to keeping Bhim and Draupadi in check, Krishna, after hearing, so Nishamya, after hearing them speak, he looks So the word is used alokya. He looks vadanam. He looks at the face of his Sakhya. So Arjun is referred to as Krishna's friend over here, because no more, at least in this, there is no more instructions going back and forth, and that also explains the smile that comes on Krishna's lips. So friendly exchanges are often accompanied with joking and smiling. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the smile indicates Krishna's inner mood. He's saying, "Oh friend," this is Sakhya, "Oh friend, today I will test the sharpness of your intelligence." Another reason Krishna is smiling is because he is happy that his friend, Sakha and disciple is going now to be glorified, because Arjun does pass the test with flying colors. So does anybody remember where else this like smiling phrase appears?
When Arjuna asks a question, like, he is saying, "I won't fight," then you are speaking like a learned man, but you are talking not good. At that time also Krishna smiled when Arjun is so much in confusion.
Correct. So the Iva Prahasan, this is 210, where the mood, Iva Prahasan is used, but there the Pacharyas explain the smile is disappearing. The Iva Prahasan means that the smile was there, but it is disappearing. Here the slight smile is appearing, because the mood is obviously somber. This is not a mood of humor. Draupadi has just lost her 5 sons. Ashwathama is bound over there, standing like a criminal. A tragedy has just been averted. So it's not a humorous mood, but the smile is coming as a personal exchange between Krishna and his Sakha. We also see this Samyamiva, the smiling between Narad and Vyasadeva in the 5th chapter. When Vyasadeva he unloads his mind in front of Narad. I have written all the Vedas. I don't know why I am still dissatisfied. And then Narad Samyamiva, apparently smiling, then he begins to instruct Vyasadeva. And then Narad is smiling because of the imminent appearance of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Next verse. Any questions, comments on this?
Prabhuji, I missed the 4th point for the forearms. So one is kill, not kill. Third is kill, but not kill.
So the 3rd and 4th are kind of similar. The 3rd is kill and not kill. The 4th is kill but not be the cause of his death.
So what is the difference really between 3rd and 4th?
They're similar. I'm not sure what the difference is. There may be a subtle difference, like you kill and not kill, simultaneously kill and not kill, and kill and not be the cause of his not be the cause of his death. There is no not kill over there. Like in the first case, there is kill but keep him alive, not kill. And in the other case, there is kill but not be the cause of his death. So these are just phrases that have been extracted from the verses that Krishna speaks in his instructions to Arjuna.
Talking about his smile, we all smile, Prabhu, and you also smile.
We have reason to smile. We are discussing Bhagavatam. Okay, next verse. The 2 verses, 53 and 54. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Brahmabandhurna Hantavya Atatai Vadaharana Matteva bhayam amnatam paripaya anushasanam kuru pratishrutam satyam yattat santvayata priyam cha bhimasenasya panchalya mayam evacha. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahman is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are there in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must act to the satisfaction of Bhimsen and me. So now Krishna has taken a third position. So if you look at it, previously he was like, I'm agreeing with Draupadi. Now he has changed camps and he has joined Bhimsen's camp, saying that now you have to act according to the satisfaction of Bhima and me. So he places 4 conditions in front of Arjun, which are not really new conditions, but they have already appeared in the past. He says, Brahma Bandhur na hantavya, that even a relative of a Brahman should not be killed. Same point made by Draupadi. Then Atatai Vadharnaha, an aggressor should be killed. Point made by Krishna and by Bhim, that he's an aggressor, so he should be killed. In the purport, Prabhupada gives the example of Dronacharya, that the killing of Dronacharya on the battlefield was not really condemned because he had the position of an aggressor. He was a Brahman, but he had the position of an aggressor. He had a bow and arrow in his hand and he was shooting arrows, so killing him was not condemned. Third point Krishna makes is Ma eva bhayam amanatam, that both of, so this statement is read in 2 ways. One way is that both of these are described by me in the scriptures. And the second way is both of these described by me are in the scriptures. So Prabhupada gives the second meaning in the verse, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the first meaning. They're very similar because the scriptures we know come for Krishna. Here, as for Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is expressly making the point that both of these are described by me in the scriptures. And Prabhupada gives the second interpretation that both these points described by me are in the scriptures. The fourth injunction, Krishna says that paripahe anushasana. That so anushasana is the duty of a kshatriya, to rule. So paripahe anushasana. Now you carry out these rulings. Now you be what you're supposed to be as a kshatriya. So in his commentary on this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that one can expand these reasons to be a little bit more easy to follow. So he says one can imagine that Krishna is saying that previously I have instructed you to kill Ashwathama. However, Ashwathama is no longer an aggressor, since he stands in front of you bound with rope and with no weapons. Thus, he should not be killed. Therefore, you should kill Ashwathama, but not be the cause of killing him. That is my desire. So here Krishna is indicating his third arm, so to speak, that kill him, but do not be the cause of killing him, because Krishna is not negating any of his 2 provisions. His instructions to kill Ashwathama and instructions not to kill Ashwathama, but he's combining them and saying that you kill him, but do not be the cause of killing him. So after stating his own desire, then Krishna, he says to Arjun that you have to act in a way not only Oh, it's 9:21. I'm sorry. I forgot. I should have stopped at 9:15. Let me finish this verse and we'll stop. My apologies. So he says that Kuru Prati Shrutam Satyam. So Kuru Prati Shrutam. So Kuru means that abiding. So you have to abide by the promise that you made to Draupadi. So you have to act. So even though Draupadi has taken another position, he is now looking more towards Arjun. That you have to satisfy yourself. So earlier on he had said that you keep your vows. So now he's making that in addition to satisfying me, you have to satisfy yourself. And you have made a promise to Draupadi that you will kill Ashwathama. And you should not break your promise. Then you should pacify Draupadi. That yantat santavayata priyam. So priyam means dear. So you should pacify your dear wife who does not want Ashwathama to be killed. Then he says priyam cha bhima senasya. And you have to satisfy Bhima who wants Ashwathama to be killed. And then he says evam cha. Eva cha means others, like Yudhishthir, Nakul, Sahadev, the ladies. You have to satisfy them also who do not want Ashwathama to be killed. And then at the end he says Mahayam. Mahayam means also satisfy me who wants Ashwathama to be killed and not be killed. So Arjun is given this seemingly impossible task of killing Ashwathama, to satisfy Bhima, to satisfy his own vow, to satisfy Krishna, of not killing Ashwathama, to satisfy Draupadi, Yudhishthir, and everybody else, and to kill and not kill Ashwathama to satisfy Krishna. So I was hoping to complete this chapter, but we have quite a few verses. So we will stop over here and we'll take any questions or comments for discussion.
Prabhuji, like in general, like, in our life, it is very difficult to satisfy everybody. Especially when we start the process of bhakti, like there is some segment of people who are always like dissatisfied. So like is this pastime, like, when Krishna is saying that, oh, you should satisfy your wife, you should satisfy me, you should satisfy your brothers and everybody else, like is it even humanly possible for us to like satisfy everybody in our lives?
It's very interesting that when I was reading this, this was exactly what I was thinking about. That how is this verse applicable to us in our lives? Because really speaking, everything in the Bhagavatam is put for only one reason. It's there as an instruction to us. And at least my conclusion was yes. That's what we should aspire for satisfying everybody. So the point that you made is that it may not be humanly possible, and you're absolutely right, but that does not mean that it is not something that we should strive for. See, because if you look at it from the other side, or from the flip side, then what does it mean? It means that you work with this mindset that I will satisfy some people and then I will purposefully dissatisfy some other people. And a lot of time, devotees in the earlier cycle of their devotional life work in that paradigm. That they take to bhakti, their parents have not taken to bhakti, they go back home and they criticize their parents. They start finding fault with everything. They start condemning them, and they cause lots of distress to the family. So how do you satisfy both? You satisfy by staying true to your devotional life, and then you satisfy your parents by being even more affectionate to them, by becoming a more dutiful and the kind of son or daughter they wanted. And the reason I can relate to that is because I actually went through it myself. Initially, when I took to Bhakti, my house, the prominent form of worship is Durga Devi. And when I took to devotion over here and I went back, and I would sit for hours and talk to my family members about how Durga Devi is Maya Devi and how she's a witch and how you're sleeping on the lap of a witch. And, and can you imagine, for somebody, who for their entire lives, they have worshipped Durga Devi. And, in our house, even now, like we say Hare Krishna in our house, it's Jai Mata Di. They basically, that's how they greet one another. So that's the predominating deity. Now, thanks to the guidance from Guru Maharaj and the maturity of the devotional service, that eventually we were able to build bridges. So it's not that I succeeded in making my mother a devotee or my sister a devotee, but we came to a position of mutual respect. That, when we used to fight earlier on, they would, in a way, to disrespect me, they would disrespect Krishna. And they would say, what are you talking about, Krishna? He has so many girlfriends, he's running around so many women, and what are you talking about, Krishna? He took birth and he died, and there is no pastime of Durga Devi taking birth and dying, she's eternal. So, all those kinds of discussion that would happen. And then Maharaj said that essentially you're depriving them of any opportunity for bhakti because you're presenting them with opportunities to blaspheme Krishna and his devotees. So why do that? So yes, I think the answer to your question is yes. That's what we should strive for. Just like Krishna is asking Arjun to do, he's asking us to do the same thing. Now, it does not mean that we'll succeed, and maturity in striving does not mean that everybody becomes a pure devotee. Maturity in striving is that everybody becomes peaceful. The famous praise of Prahlad Maharaj, right? That let there be no envy, let people be in the fifth canto. That let there be harmony and glory and peace. So that's what we should strive for.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Nice question. Any other question, comment?
So, Prabhu, the promise that Arjun took to bring the head of Ashwatthama, he did that promise, but Draupadi never asked for that, no?
Draupadi did not ask for it, you're right. He did that to pacify Draupadi.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Like just a comment is like this much deep the heart of devotees just by one action. Externally, it is looking. Some other person also may do that, but so many qualities that we discussed and you explained. It's very deep insight, and it will be helpful for us that we should also aspire to think like those great personalities.
Right, thank you. And I think that's the reason why the acharyas take the trouble to delve deeper into that, because that's why Krishna has put it over here, and that's why that's why Prabhupada brings forth in the purport, and Bhurijan Prabhu writes about it in the book, or other acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Jiva Goswami. So it's not just mental gymnastics. It's not that you're looking at words from three different ways and coming out with three different meanings, but it's just realizations that they want to share with us, so that we can imbibe in our own lives and practices. So thank you. So if there are no more questions, we'll end over here, and we'll meet again on Monday. Vanchakalpatarubhayascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitnam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanand.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Ajita, you wanted to stay back